We've been at anchor here now for 3 or 4 hours. I've just cooked dinner, Liz has been doing stuff, and we have a visitor. This is sometimes what happens when you find a quiet little anchorage. There we go. This is our new visitor. The question is, how much closer can he anchor next to Esper? Another day, another sail, and today we have a regatta. There's a mini regatta going on and they are sailing down there. Liz is just checking them out. What can you see, Liz?
They're mostly on our starboard side, way over, but there is a race marker directly on our nose, so let's hope they just stay on the other side for the time being. There's a few others like us trying to get through.
Can you remember your coal regs?
No. We just left Kwa town in Langkawi, and we probably won't be back for at least 3 months. So bye bye Kwa, it's been nice knowing you, you were very good to us, but we are ready to move on. Going up just a little way along the bay to the island next to Singabassa, just for 1 night, 2 nights, not quite sure yet. Lovely day for it, very very slow sail, but at least it's a sail. So one of the really great things about sailing in Thailand is the weather. It's always beautiful and great.
It's horrible.
We were supposed to go sailing today, but we decided that the weather was so wet and rainy and miserable, we'd celebrate our 10 years of being on a boat.
10 years ago in 2006, climbed on board Esper as liveaboards for the first time. So we thought we would just reflect and ask each other a couple of questions, which take in some of the questions we've been asked over the years, and also via YouTube and on social media about what it is to be a liveaboard. What were you looking forward to when we first started?
The thing that really inspired me to do this was the travel. Sailing second, travel first. I wanted to immerse myself in new cultures, go to new countries and do it slowly and get to know people. And what about you?
Freedom, no deadlines, being completely in control of everything that we do, not having to answer to anyone. what were your biggest fears?
Oh, I had loads of fears. Because I didn't have very much sailing experience, so the actual sailing part of it was what used to keep me awake at night. Part of that was the idea of ocean crossings, but I knew that was in the distance. But just doing my very first night sail, once we got on board and we were sailing and you were teaching me, I discovered that the thrill of it overtook the fears.
I think for me, my biggest fears were to do with the practical aspects of boat maintenance, specifically the engine. You know, I think when you're a liveaboard, you have to arm yourself with a lot of skills which you wouldn't normally have, because ultimately you really do have to be independent.
So we had lots of manuals and books to begin with, because we didn't have the kind of internet service that you do now, and we struggled through by using the books and the manuals and talking to people that we met along the way who were really knowledgeable. The more we did, the less frightening it became.
You're very meticulous in the way that you approach problem solving, and so you have more patience to pick up a book and work your way through from beginning to end. And I think that's a useful skill to have. RTFM.
Read it. What was the one thing you said to me that we would never have on the boat?
A cat. What's changed in the last 10 years?
I think my perspective on life, just to get a little philosophical for a bit, has shifted slightly. I think I'm more tolerant, more patient. Those are two things we've had to learn.
So, patient? One of the biggest changes is technology, both in terms of our communication and also technology on the boat. Broadband radar, for example, swapping our old radar, which used to pull about 20 amps,
Ridiculous.
to a broadband radar which now pulls just a few amps. Power has got more efficient. Then of course there's the social media side of things.
For yachties and for people who are going around the world, whether on a boat or not, it's absolutely essential, because it keeps us in touch with all our family and our friends.
Political changes, borders changing. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get a sense that moving between countries is going to get more difficult. I just get this feeling that borders seem to be closing, not opening.
Yeah, I mean, for us as UK residents, citizens, it's all going to change in Europe.
Places like the Red Sea and Sudan, which is now two countries, Sudan and South Sudan, Egypt, and of course Yemen. Those kind of places have changed massively in the last 10 years. And are now, some of these countries are pretty much no-go areas. Travelling to these different countries and cultures has opened up my mind even more. I remember before we left Turkey and we were on our way to Egypt, we were told to, by a number of yachties, watch out in Egypt for the whole bakshish thing. You know, people want backhanders for everything. And when we got there, I had this preconceived idea that that's what it was like. And as it turned out, it was absolutely nothing like that whatsoever. So, you know, we've become, I think, more broad-minded and tend not to listen so much to third-hand stories and prefer to experience and base our experiences on our own, observations. We're now so open to so many sources of information and news, and of course, hot topic at the moment, false news, post-truths, those kind of things. It's almost easier now to make up your mind about a place, about a people, a culture, a country, before you've even had any direct experience yourself. And so I think that has changed a lot. ESPA's changed, thinking of other things that's changed. As you know, we did an extensive refit.
It took some time, didn't it, to adapt, to make the decision about what we were going to do. In fact, it took us 7 years?
Yes, yeah.
Before we made any changes below?
We've changed, our families have changed. We now have nieces and nephews. Parents, of course, they're getting older. Liz's mum, Dorothy, bless her, actually renamed ESPA, part of the renaming ceremony.
I name the ship Esper. May God bless her and all who sail in her.
Hey! She came over to Turkey, and of course, she's not able to do that now. They're the sad changes we don't like to dwell on, but it's just a fact of life.
So when we started out, what did you think it was going to be like? And in fact, what's it really like?
Well, you've just missed the almighty squall that came through. In fact, it seemed to be 3 different squalls that came through from 3 different directions. We've still got the thunder and the rain. The question is, how much closer can he anchor next to Esper? We're on a good 30 metres of chain, so if we get pushed back by the wind or the tide, we're going to back onto him. The second thing is obviously the light. Then of course he has a generator running for the entire time he's going to sit there, which could be all night. We don't know. He may get bored, he may move. He probably doesn't realise that he's making us a little bit nervous. It's his spot, I suppose. He's probably been fishing here for years. Makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, and here comes the rain. Another nice gentle sail. Checkout time today. I don't think we've checked in and out so often in such a short space of time. This time we're going to check out at a place called Talaga. We've been here before. If you've seen our earlier clips, you may recognise this rather dramatic backdrop there. It's always fun going into this harbour master's office and the immigration. You never know whether they're going to be open or not, or take an early lunch, or maybe just sleeping. It's one of the prettiest spots on the island, I'd say. It's certainly, in terms of the marinas here, it's definitely the prettiest, I think. I wouldn't say the marina's particularly brilliant itself, but the setting is rather splendid. It has that very continental feel. We've got this promenade here with the various restaurants. There's a superb bakery over there which does the best croissants on the island. And as you can see behind me, it's got this, as I say, this continental feel with these, it's like being on the Riviera or Saint-Tropez or somewhere like that. Some rather small boats parked up here, very little ones. We're at our favourite restaurant and we're about to have pizza for lunch. By the way, checkout this time took about 10 minutes. It's not bad. It's not a record, but it's not bad. What would we have done differently knowing what we know now?
The only thing that immediately springs to mind is money. We fell into the same trap, I think, that a lot of yachties fall into, and we were warned of it at the time, as it was a holiday. The first 6 months, we were on holiday. We were spending money like we were on holiday. We're going out every night, and sort of gradually those savings dwindled. So we were a bit careless to begin with.
What concerns did you have about your own personal security and safety?
I was not really concerned about my personal security in any way other than there being a problem with the boat. You imagine being capsizing or hitting something in the ocean and the boat going down. Those were my only real security concerns.
So you had no concerns about going into different cultures, maybe male-dominated cultures?
Yeah, it was really interesting when we left the Med, wasn't it? Because we went from Turkey, which obviously is a Muslim country, I suppose, but it's very, very European. And then we hit Egypt, and as we progressed through the Red Sea onto India and now over here in Southeast Asia, and it became very apparent in certain countries that people didn't want to talk to me, they wanted to talk to you.
She found that so difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Really, seriously, just in case you hadn't guessed, we are equal in this relationship, and sometimes more equal than other times, especially when Liz wants to take control. But you really had to take a back seat, didn't you?
I did, and coming from a background where I was in charge of a lot of people and I had a lot of staff under me and teams and so forth, to suddenly not be the person that went into the passport office and dealt with all the paperwork and answered all the questions was quite hard. But then I took a different tack, and I thought to myself, actually this is quite nice. It means he's got to do all the work and I just can sit around and read a book.
Knowing what you know now, is there anything you would change?
The one thing I didn't like was having to go through the Gulf of Aden with a whole load of other boats. That drove me insane. That was very, very, very hard work. 10 boats. We were grouped together to get through the Gulf of Aden in 2010 when piracy was at its height. And the idea was if you went together in a little flotilla, it would be a bit safer. I don't know whether that's true or not. But each skipper was the skipper of the 10, and so there were a lot of egos there. And as soon as that was over, I was extremely relieved. So it's 10 years this month. What are the highlights?
Learning to sail at Esper in Turkey. It is a wonderful country. And then of course the Red Sea. I mean, just going to places like Eritrea and Sudan. I mean, why would you go to these countries? Well, we did, of course, because it was part of our passage, and Yemen as well. Just discovering random countries like that, where typically the people are wonderfully accommodating and friendly.
Always the people. It's not just the places. I mean, in the last episode we took you to the fjord, of course, which was fantastic. That wasn't about people, and we have had some great wildlife experiences, and they are massively important. But the ones that really stick are the people, the wonderful people we've met.
And the food.
Yeah, and the food. So what are we going to do over the next 10 years then, Jamie?
We still have a few things on our shopping list for Esper that kind of prevent us from leaving straight away. The most important thing being new sails.
Yeah.
We need new sails, and all 4 pretty much need replacing. I will be surprised if we don't blow out one of our sails in the next few months. So that kind of holds us here whilst we just get some money together and get some new sails made. But we are planning big things for the next couple of years, and hopefully you're going to see us go probably back across the Indian Ocean. We always said we'd like to get to the States, didn't we?
Yeah.
One way or another, we'd love to get to the States, or just the Americas generally.
Yeah. It's ocean passage. I really, really want an ocean passage.
Yeah.
Really feeling itchy to get out there. And of course, that is one of my highlights. Being in the middle of the ocean at night, when it's not raining, when you've got good wind, there's nothing like it in the world.